Hi guys, Materim here with the second battle report from last night's games. If you saw my most recent report, number 7, you know that this game takes place immediately afterwards and has my Demons of Chaos challenging the winners of the last game, which were the Skaven, in a same 2,000 point pitch battle. What we decided to do was to allow the Skaven player who had conquered the field to choose his side, and then I would deploy afterwards, or rather choose the second side, and we do the normal back and forth deploy. So the Skaven player chose to take the side that the Empire player had currently, and I enter on the Skaven's previous side. So this was a fun game. Got a little late. I don't think we got done till after 1, so was a little tiring, but I hope you guys enjoy, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the Skaven deployment. Okay, so to the left of this building, which are arcane ruins, and in front of this pile of rocks, which is a second Banestone, we have the Doom Wheel and his 20-man unit of Skaven slaves. Then we have the Warp Lightning, or the Warp Fire Thrower, and its parent unit, which is that big bus of 40 clan rats, which have his level 2 Warlock Engineer and Chieftain BSB with the Banner of the Under Empire. Then he's got the two Poison Wind Mortar weapon teams. The Poison Wind Globadiers are behind those, and the big unit of Storm Vermin with the Screaming Bell is there. That does have his level 4 Grey Seer on the top of it, of course. Immediately to the right of that, he has his unit of Clan Rats, not Clan Rats, I'm sorry, Rat Ogres, which is 6 Rat Ogres and 4 Pack Masters. And then in the back, he has his Warp Lightning Cannon. Pretty much, it's the exact same list from before. All he did was roll different spells. Alright, and here, this is my Servants of the Dark Prince army. So, left to right, which is actually the whole army, I have a unit of 20 Demonettes of Slaanesh. That unit has the Banner of the Eternal Flame on it. And with them is Kyrin the Tamer, my Herald of Slaanesh. She's a level 1 caster with Lore of Slaanesh, and has 2 lesser gifts. She rolled the 2+ ward on the first wound she suffered, and the other one I defaulted to the Sword of Might. She has the Greater Locus of Swiftness as well for Always Strikes First. Next to that is another 20-man unit of Demonettes with my Brya, the Bearer of the Sign, who is my Herald of Slaanesh Standard Bearer, also a level 1 caster of Lore of Slaanesh. And she also has the Greater Locus of Swiftness, and the greater gift that she received was +1 wound. Directly next to that are my 6 Chaos Furies, also of Slaanesh. Behind them is my Soul Grinder of Slaanesh, upgraded with the Demon Bone Claw and the Phlegm Bombardment. Directly behind that, hiding from his Warp Lightning Cannon, is Melisandre, the Keeper of Secrets. She's just a level 1 Lore of Slaanesh caster, but has the Exalted Gift of the Eternal Blade and a lesser gift of the Crushing Mass Impact Wounds. And then on the right, I have 5 Seekers of Slaanesh, and they have full command and the Standard of Discipline with them. Okay, so I got first turn. So what I just did with the 2 Demonette units is I moved them right up to the fence so that they could have a little bit of that cover for a little while. I didn't really know what to do with the Chaos Furies right now because we're all really packed in. So I put them off to the side a little bit to give me some maneuverability there. And I took the Seekers up next to that building and put them at that angle, knowing that the Rat Ogres are going to charge them from Frenzy, and that would put both units within the Aura of the Banestone that's just on the other side of that building that you can see, because I figured I'd need all the help against the Rat Ogres I could get. So I figured even if they get destroyed, the Rat Ogres are going to be running off way off to the side, and I won't have to worry about them for a while. So during my magic phase, all I got was Phantasmagoria off on the Rat Ogres, and Lash of Slaanesh took out, I think, 3 clan rats. My shooting was totally a failure. The Phlegm Bombardment scattered. So we go right into Skaven turn 2. And as I was hoping, the Rat Ogres charged into the Seekers and succeeded there, although we can't quite push them together because of the way the Seekers' tongues are so long. It's this point that my opponent reminded me that the building there is a Tower of Blood, so we both got Hatred and Frenzy for being right in there. So I was kind of nervous. I've seen Rat Ogres do damage before. I've not seen them up against the Seekers of Slaanesh, so I was a little concerned. Not to mention that I had, in my first magic phase, I had rolled 4. So the Realm of the Gods, or Realm of Chaos table, ends up lowering my ward save across the whole army to a 6+. So I'm figuring, yeah, these guys are probably going to get stomped and overrun, but I was kind of expecting that. And at least the overrun will put the ogres way off to the side where they can't hurt anything important. So with no other charges to declare, the Doom Wheel rolls up along the flank, trying to circle around behind me. The slaves come around the side, and that lake there is actually a Mistwreath swamp, so if half your units in there, I think it's a D6 models, can get dragged to their doom, but he's willing to risk it with slaves, so it's pretty much not an issue for him. And here you just see that the entire rest of his army, except for the Warp Lightning Cannon, moves up to come get me. And his shooting manages to take out 3 of my Chaos Furies. I think he did that with one of the Poison Wind Mortars. And his second Poison Wind Mortar misfires, blows itself up, and manages to take 2 members of the Storm Vermin group with them. Now we go to close combat, and you may be looking at this picture wondering, wasn't there a big unit of Rat Ogres there just a moment ago facing 5 fragile fast cav? The answer to that is yes. The Seekers of Slaanesh just went buck wild on them. With the Frenzy, the Hatred being faster, I ended up killing, with the attacks from the Riders and the Mounts, killed 4 of the 6 Rat Ogres in combat. Admittedly, he killed the other 4 of the Seekers, but then the Rat Ogres broke. The Phantasmagoria made sure he wasn't getting it, and the Seekers ran him down and ended up right in charging into the unit of the Storm Vermin. So it was pretty amazing. I've never seen anything like that with a unit of Rat Ogres on the charge, still getting beat by 5 fast cav. And I've got to feel bad for my opponent. I mean, when this happened, his whole mood just changed. And I can't say mine wouldn't either, because that's kind of a rough loss, first combat of first turn. Okay, so we go into top of turn 2. My unit of Demonettes with Chiron in it charges into the Clan Rats and makes it. My Chaos Furies actually did a long charge into the Globadiers, who failed to kill any on stand and shoot, and so they made it in as well. And then I attempt to charge in with the other unit of Demonettes into the Storm Vermin, and I needed a 4 on the dice and rolled double 1s. So they just slid up on top of that fence and sat there. And with no other charges, I moved the Soul Grinder literally as close as I could get him to the Storm Vermin, knowing that there's no way he'd be able to move or anything, even if he did end up killing the last remaining Seeker. So he'd have to come in and deal with the Soul Grinder, which is really the best tar pit I have in an all Slaanesh army. And then I moved the Keeper of Secrets. She's been hiding behind the Soul Grinder because I've been afraid of the Warp Lightning Cannon. She moved out over here so I could get a flank charge into those Storm Vermin. And I was pretty much gambling on my opponent's generally less than stellar luck with his war machines this game to keep her safe. Because I know those warp lightning cannons can be a pain in the butt for monsters, particularly monsters who serve as your general. In my magic phase, I did manage to get Cacophonic Choir off on the Storm Vermin and did, I think, 3 wounds, but gave them all waste strikes, last, and random movement. So we go straight on to close combat. My Chaos Furies actually beat the Globadiers, but failed to chase them down because they ran like the scurvy rats they are. And then in this battle, I did manage to take out 2 Storm Vermin before my champion was killed. So, considering that's all I had against there, I still think that was a pretty good round of combat for me. And it's a few less bodies, so when they finally go into the Soul Grinder, I've sort of got a head start on annihilating the unit, because I know I can't break them with the bell there. And the last fight, you can see both sides lost about half a dozen models. And to be honest, I don't remember who won this one. I think he did, or I think I did. But he, with his general right there, he was not going to break. So pretty much just little death on each side, and we stay where we are. So Skaven turn 2 starts with the the Skaven slaves charging into the flank of the demonettes there, and he took a dangerous terrain test. I think he lost 2 or 3 because of the marsh, but he managed to get in there. Now I'm kind of worried. I've got some kick out power, and he always strikes first. I can do some damage, but he's got a lot of static combat res there, and it did have me pretty worried. And he did end up charging into the Soul Grinder again because of the way it hangs over the edge of the base. No way he could get into base-to-base contact, but we're there. And here you see the Globadiers did not rally, but they ended up stopping like a half an inch away from the board edge. And so his magic phase was pretty much a wash. I think he got poison attacks off on his unit of Storm Vermin, and that was it. So he manages to take out one of my Chaos Furies with the Warp Fire Thrower that's off screen to the left there. He did 2 hits on it, but I did ward save one of them, so they're still there. And then my opponent's War Machines actually showed up for one sad hit. Yeah, the Warp Lightning Cannon zeroed in right on Melisandre, my Keeper of Secrets, and blew her to Kingdom Come. 6 wounds, I failed my ward save, and she was gone. So, in this battle, I have to explain this picture, because we went back and forth. I did a few wounds to the rats, not nearly as many as I could have. Tried to challenge the BSB again, but he accepted with the unit champion. What are you going to do? So I ended up losing by a decent amount, rolled the demonic instability check, and got an 11. That wiped out all of the remaining demonettes and left the Herald all by herself. But then I was like, oh wait, I'm within 12 of my BSB. Let me go ahead and re-roll that. I can do better. And the re-roll was boxcars, and the whole unit, including the Herald, gets whisked back to the void, and yeah. But I guess I've had this one coming. This is, I think, my 4th or 5th game with the demons, and this is the first time that's happened, first of all, and it's also the first game where I have not had a double ones rolled for a demonic instability test. So I figure karma's a bitch, but I kind of owed her on that one. And then in this combat, my opponent couldn't roll for jack. He did something like 18, 19 attacks, something like that. But they all have poison. And he rolled 1 poison result, and then failed to wound with anything else, because he needs 6s. So he did 1, I think I failed my ward save, and he did 1 wound to the Soul Grinder, but I took out another 5 or 6 storm vermin, so we're not going anywhere, and I've pretty much got him tied up good. And so, start of Demon 3, my Chaos Fury remaining charges the Globadiers, runs them off the board, and she stops just shy of running off the board herself. And my second unit of Demonettes with my Battle Standard Bearer charges in and succeeds to get into combat with the Clan Rats. I know I've set myself up for the slaves to come into the flank, but I'm hoping I can get in there, get a challenge, because he's got nothing but his BSB left, kill him and or break the unit and avoid that being too big a deal. And as we go into close combat, that's exactly what happens. He did step up against my BSB with his BSB, and I killed him in Always Strikes First, and then did basically just enough wounds to make him break. He ended up rolling very badly on his leadership check and took off running. And obviously, so that I could not take that flank charge, I had the Demonettes go ahead and follow, even though I didn't realize. So after I'd done that, that basically puts them right in the face of the Warp Fire Thrower. And here he got one more wound on the Soul Grinder, but I ended up getting like a pretty insane Thunder Stomp plus wounds, so I think I killed another 7, 8 guys. So they lost combat, but they're unbreakable, so that's pretty much the end of my turn. Okay, so bottom of turn 3, the Clan Rats failed to rally and run right off the table. The slaves reform to look at the back of the Demonettes, and the Doom Wheel comes around. Unfortunately, it's still not close enough to be blasting anything but the Clan Rats with its shooting. I think the Soul Grinder is something like 2 inches further out, but that's as far as he could get it in. So magic was a wash. He didn't get anything accomplished. The Warp Fire Thrower overshot the Demonettes. The Warp Lightning Cannon undershot them or overshot them. Either way, he shot with both, didn't hit anything. The Doom Wheel failed to restrain and blew the back rank off his slaves. And so at this point, my opponent just looked at it and said, you know what, I don't have enough left on the board. You pretty much got that, and he surrendered. Okay, so we have a Skaven surrender and a victory to the Daemons of Chaos. It was a fun game, but I tell you, I kind of feel bad for my opponent. His dice were just not doing him any favors all night long. Particularly starting off the game with that just absolutely massacred charge by the Rat Ogres put a whole lot of momentum behind the Daemons of Chaos, and he was having to play catch up and just didn't have the dice to do it. I thought things were going to start to turn when his Warp Lightning Cannon blasted Melisandre, but she's 575 points for what she costs, plus being my general. Problem is that's the only thing the Warp Lightning Cannon was able to hit all game, and he just didn't have good luck in his battles. He went for several tough rounds against the Soul Grinder, even with poison attacks not being able to hit. So he really was just plinking away at one wound, and I was killing 6 to 7 storm vermin around. He just didn't have it in that unit to stand up to the grinder with the way he was rolling. And then once the other fight went bad and the BSB was gone and the Clan Rats ran off the table, there's really not much on that left flank. I mean, he had the Doom Wheel coming in, but I kind of agree with my opponent. It was really too little too late at that point. And frankly, with the way I was rolling with the Demonettes, they probably could have handled the Doom Wheel. And so I really wasn't all that concerned about that. But all in all, it was a fun game. We definitely enjoyed ourselves. Next week, I've got a challenge in to our Bretonia player. 2,500 points against my Ogre Kingdoms. The White Tooth clan is coming back out. Hopefully they'll be less angry at me than they were the last time I played. So I'm looking forward to getting that one up for you guys next week. So definitely, if you like what you see, subscribe, like, comment. I'd love to talk to folks about what they see. If they see any things we could be doing different, better, whatever, definitely feel free to let me know. I keep an eye on the comments and definitely want to make this channel better and make it something that more folks want to see more of. So another one in the bag. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next time.